This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, Rabbi Glatstein. We're continuing in Mishna Berura Daf HaShavua. We're learning Hilchos Tefillin, Siman Lamed Beis. Now, we began Siman Lamed Beis. We're Sif Lamed Vav. Siman Lamed Beis, Sif Lamed Vav. The Mechaber said that you should make all the Parshios Psuchais, except for the Parsha Achroina that's written in the Torah, which is V'hayim Shemaya, that should be made Sesuma, and if you changed it, it's Pasal. The Ramah says there are those who are Machshir if they're all Pesuchais, even V'hayim Shemaya, which is a Parsha Sesuma, and then the Ramah says in our Medina, the minhag is to make Parshas V'hayim Shemaya Beroish Hashita Kishar HaParshios, meaning to make it a Parsha Pesucha. So the Mishna Berura said in Sivkat and Kuf Samach that even though L'chadchila it's a mitzvah to make it Sasum, even according to the Yesh Machshirim, so it would seem this minhag is not correct. So we learned last week the Ramah brings down this minhag because the Ikar is b'di'evet it's kosher and it's very difficult to make it Sesuma. So therefore we're machzik it as a Parsha Pesucha. The Gra is mashma, it's Yoser Tov Lasos to do what the Shulchan Aruch said, namely to make it a Parsha Sesuma. We said we weren't sure what the Lamaisa is regarding this. Let's continue on in the Mechaber. The Mechaber says, L'chein noagu sheparshas Kadesh li, v'haya kiviyacha. Therefore the minhag is that the Parsha of Kadesh and v'haya kiviyacha, u'parsha Shema, maschilin b'roi shita, Uvesoif Kadesh Li Uvesoif V'haya Kiviyacha Manichem Chalak. You leave it blank. Kedei Lichtov Tes Oisios. Uvesoif Shema Ein Manichem Chalak. At the end of Shema, we don't leave it blank. Why? Because you want V'haya Im Shamaya to be a Parsha Sesuma. What does Parsha Sesuma mean? You want it to begin in the middle of a line. V'im Manichem Hu Pachais Mechedei Lichtov Tes Oisios. If you leave it less than the amount to write 9 letters, in other words, and if you do leave space at the end of Shema, you should leave it less than 9 letters. In other words, by the Parsha of Kadesh, the Mechaber is saying, by Kadesh and V'haya Kviyacha and Shema, which start in the beginning of a line. So at the end of Kadesh and the end of V'haya Kiviyacha, you leave 9-letter space. The end of Shema, you don't leave any space. And if you do, it should be less than 9 letters. Let's see Mishna Berura, Sivkatan, Kuf, Samach, Beis. Says the Mishna Berura, Kuf, Samach, Beis. Maschilin Bereish. You start at the beginning of the line. Look in diagram 2. In diagram 2, one second, let me just make this bigger. In diagram 2, Kadesh starts in the beginning of the line. V'haya Kviyacha starts in the beginning of the line. Shema starts in the beginning of the line. So over here, you're going to leave 9 letters of space. Over here, you're going to leave 9 letters of space. Here, you're not going to leave any space, so that V'hayim Shemaya could be a Parsha Sesuma. We pointed out, the Ramah says that anyway, we're doing a Parsha Pesucha at the beginning of V'hayim Shemaya. Says the Mishna Berura, D'zeh oisa oisa lefesucha l'kuli alma. This makes it a Parsha Pesucha according to everyone. Keshehishar chalak kedei tes oisios b'soif shito hatachtoina. When you leave 9 letters of space at the end of the bottom line, ba'amad hakoidim in the previous column, ve'imloi hischa b'roish hashita. If you don't begin in the beginning of the line, elohiniach ma'ad revach, you leave a little bit of space. Afil pachas mites oisios, even a little bit less than 9 letters. Hare parsha zudikre sesuma laharambam. According to the Rambam, this would be called a Parsha Sesuma. Upsula afilu di'eved. It would be pasul even b'di'eved. If you leave space, if you don't start in the beginning of the line, and here, like in this case, look in diagram 3. You don't start in the beginning of the column, but you leave a little bit of space, even less than 9 letters. So you say, why is this a Parsha Sesuma? Parsha Sesuma is like this, where you leave 9 letters of space in the beginning of the column. That's a Parsha Sesuma. But here you're not. Here, is this a Parsha Sesuma? You're not leaving 9 letters of space. According to the Rambam, it's a Parsha Sesuma. Upsula afilu di'eved, it's pasul even b'di'eved. Over Prima Gadim, Kasav, the Prima Gadim writes, the afilu imloi himshech lefnim beroish kadesh oy v'haya ki yiviacha oy shema rak ois achas oshtayim gam kein yesh loymar de pasul. Even if you did not continue inside in the beginning of Kadesh or Vahaya or Shema, just one or 2 letters, it's also pasul. Meaning like this, let's say Kadesh, you left 1 letter of space, or Vahaya Kiviacha, you left 1 letter of space. You would say that's a Parsha Pesucha, because you're basically starting at the beginning of the column. The fact that you just left 1 letter of space, does that make it a Sesuma? Yeah, by the way, this is very interesting. It's Pesucha and Sesuma is the opposite of what you would have thought. Pesucha means you start at the beginning of a column. Sesuma means you start in the middle of the column. Accordingly, even if you start not only less than 9 letters, but the Pri Megadim seems to be saying you started 1 or 2 letters in, it would also be pasul. V'tzarch iyan bazeh. This is a tzarch iyan. Uvesefer Maimar Mordechai mashma de'in lahachmer bazeh b'di'eved. The Maimar Mordechai is mashma that b'di'eved we're not machmer. Ba'al kopan l'chachila yesh lizar bazeh ma'oid. Therefore, l'chachila, you should be very careful about this. V'im hishir kishir tevas asher. If, let's say, you left enough space that you could write the word asher. Let's see if we... Here, like in diagram 5, you left, let's say, 3 letters of space. Says the Mishna Berura, nearly the yesh lahachmer afilu b'di'eved, taharei b'shir zeh bevada yesh keshisha oisias ketanois. In the word asher, you definitely have 6 small letters. V'yoiser, maybe more. Chumash kasav machzas hashekel. V'harei ledas hataz, according to the Taz, mitztarif midina l'kol yama. We could join up midin, according to everything, li'ikari sesuma, afilu loy haya harevach shalamala ulamata, rak kishir tes oisios ketanois, ayidei tziruf, Chumash kasav Pri Megadim. Let's see if he explains what this means. Let's say, like this. According to the Pri Megadim is masupik. Maybe if you leave even 1 or 2 letters of a space, it's pasul. That the Mishna Berura says is a question. The Mordechai is mashna, we're not machmer. But l'chachi, you should definitely be machmer. But if you leave over enough space that you could write the word asher, you should be machmer even b'di'eved. Why? Because you definitely have like 6 oisios ketanois, like the Machzas HaShekel says. And according to the Taz, listen carefully, mitztarif l'midina l'kuliyama, v'hayim shemaya will be called stuma, even if the space shalamala, here he explains in the diagram, shalamala is the beginning of the column, lamata is the end of the column. Rakishir tes oisios ketanis aydei tziruf. Let's say, if you would join up the space in Beis and the space in Aleph, meaning the space the end of the previous column and the space in the beginning of the column, if these 2 spaces would join up to be 9 letters of space, that would still be a Parsha Sesuma. In other words, if there are 9 letters of space in the beginning of the column, it's definitely Sesuma. If it's 1 or 2, it's a suffix. But if you could write the letter of Asher, then since in the letter of Asher you could have 6 small letters, and according to the Taz, now we could join up the spacing on top and bottom to be like 9 small letters. Rambam, that which the Rambam says, V'yaniach ma'at revach, hu shir katan ma'od. That's a very small shir. Al keinim roya shehischal parsha afilu ois achas lefnim shaloi b'makam sertat mitchila yira lasis gam shar hashurois ba'oifen zeh. Therefore, if let's say like in this case, and let's see, you started the beginning of the column vayedaber, and you started it 1 space in. You started 1 space in. So now this is a problem because this is becoming a sesuma. What you should do is you should follow all the other lines to start 1 space in. This way it's not considered sesuma. And this avoids any issue of the suffix or the Pri Megadim, namely if there's 1 lettering of space, that could potentially be a Parsha Sesuma. Okay, Rabbi Say, we'll pick it up over here in Sivkata and Kuf Samach Gimel tomorrow. I wish everyone a wonderful day. Bracha v'atzlacha. Kol tov.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.